Wait.
As soon as you hear we're recording, then we're good. Hold on one second. Stop. Okay. All right.
Boy.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Same bad channel every week, 9 a.m. with an awesome group of community members. So welcome. As we think about kicking off this meeting, grab your phone, check in on the 1 Million Cups app if you have a chance. So this community is all about entrepreneurship, education, and building a great network. It's all about helping each other. So for those of you who are new to 1 Million Cups, the mission of 1 Million Cups, which is a national organization, is to help remove obstacles for entrepreneurs. And we do that through these weekly presentations and discussions with feedback. These are not business pitches. There's not investing at the end. This is all about presenting a challenge question, and then we as a group ask questions, give input, and provide feedback, all for free. So this is a safe environment. We don't mind direct, candid feedback, but we do want to make sure everything stays positive. You do have our chat as well, so you can always drop positive feedback there too. This is all volunteer led, but there are a few places where you can engage. You can follow us on social media. Once you download and join the app, you get added to our weekly newsletter. And of course, you can come any Wednesday, every other Wednesday, whatever you want to do. We'd love to see you. So these are our organizers. We'll go around the screen. Donnell, if you want to kick us off.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Donnell Johns with Veterans Grow, Virginia. I'm the founder there and happy to be here. Thank you guys for coming.
I'm Jen Dalton with Brand Mirror, and I was roped into this by Donnell, which I appreciate.
I'm Melinda Sigel, the Sales and Marketing Connection, and I'm behind the slides this morning.
I'm John Rutenberg, cccsolutions.com, and I'm your Q&A moderator this morning.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Rosemary Savino, CEO of Gravitate. I am happy to be seeing so many smiling faces today.
So we do have monthly sponsors. So I'm going to kick it over to Sarah to kick off our sponsor update.
Hi guys, good morning. My name is Sarah Condi, and I have an LLC on the side. So that's my side hustle. So I'm always connected with entrepreneurs. And then in my full-time role with MBO Partners, we help connect companies, small companies with large enterprises through our platform. And we're so excited to be part of 1 Million Cups and support small businesses and entrepreneurs and self-employed folks. So good morning, and we're glad you're here.
Thanks so much, Sarah. John Yu is not with us this morning, but I'll speak to Office Evolution. It is a fantastic co-working space. It also has virtual memberships and your own offices as well. So if you want to reach out to John Yu and learn more about Office Evolution, it's in Tyson's. You've got some great pictures there of their space. It's modern, high energy, highly recommend it. Check it out. So how our meetings work, make sure you're on mute for the meeting. I'll be emceeing, so I'll kick us off. We'll have our presentation by Gary, and then we'll kick it over to John Rutenberg to moderate, which means he will look around the horn, ask people to ask their question. We'll moderate chat as well, but it's not a free-for-all at once on our presenter. So please make sure that you're paying attention if you're muted or not. And go ahead and drop your information in chat. We like our attendees to get to know each other. There's some familiar faces, some new faces, so welcome everybody. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gary to present all about Well Done Security. Gary, go ahead.
All right. Good morning. How are I never did this before, so I'm a little nervous with it. My my challenge question is how to obtain contracts with property management, senior living, and 55 communities. Why I choose security? I've been doing security for 17 years. My first love was actually joining the military, specifically the Marine Corps. I was pretty much wasn't fit to for duty because my right eye, I can't really see out of my right eye. So when you in security or military or law enforcement, you have to have different qualifications to get into, these type of fields. So make a long story short, that didn't stop me from wanting to, succeed my goals. So that's why I opened up, I started a security company because I didn't want to let my dream die, no matter what it was, anything that got to do with law enforcement or protecting people. So that's what made me do it. Next. And I started my LLC in 2019. Actually, my father, he was the one that came up with the name Well Done. My last name is Dunn. First name is Gary. So he came up with the name, and we started the name in 2019. And from 2019, I was actually getting some counseling from SBA, and he was pretty much, that program was just teaching me how to run a business. And then from 2019 to 20, the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, it just, everything with me was just at a standstill. And 2021, around January to June, that's when I actually started, actually pushing it a little bit harder, meaning getting my uniforms, website, marketing tools, business cards, stuff like that. That was the stuff that I was that was pushing me. I did that, started in actually this year. 2 weeks, I'm not even gonna say 2 weeks ago, about a week ago, I obtained my minority small business enterprise. That was a big milestone for me. It was very tough kind of getting it going back and forth, but I had a company that actually helped me prepare to get it, and I finally got it, so I'm happy about that. It's pretty much going to give me some more connections. And in the future, 2022, 2023, my plan is for my company to expand throughout the U.S. And that's where I'm at with it. But I know it's going to take a strong team to be behind me to get where I need to be at. But I got to take baby steps first and make it to more successful and more progress, consistent. So yeah. And my company is the problems we solve on my company. We pretty much we protect our clients from bodily harm. We save company money from death, and there's other things that goes and plays with death, and there's a couple other things. I'm not trying to think off top what it is, but we pretty much we're here to protect your access. We are here to protect people that they feel like they're being threatened or harmed. So that's what we do. This is why I'm here to do that. We do armed security, we do unarmed security, and we do patrolling, and we also have these we do private investigation too. So we do a lot. We pretty much there to please the client in any way, shape, or form as possible. So my target audience is pretty much the assisted living. That's what I want to focus on first. senior citizen living, and trying to deal with the property management. My secondary is pretty much grocery stores, apartment stores, retailers, mom and pop stores, and the last and final one is pretty much special events, like somebody might be throwing a pool party or might be throwing a wedding, or any type of special concerts, events, stuff like that. That's like my last resort, but I mean, I'm still going to do it. I done the pool party actually about 3 weeks ago. It was actually a success. So they wanted our business again. So that was a good thing, but that's like the last thing that's on my list to do. And why I choose my company? Well, the people that I have working with me, they're ex-military, local law enforcement, and most everybody that comes on to my company, they have to have their gun permit, clearance card, security clearance, first aid, a lot of other stuff they have to have. But if they don't have it coming to my company, I have resources that can get you what you need to join Well Done Security. So it's not an issue far as you crossing over to a better career, or doing security. So I have all the resources to get you where you need to be at. What makes my company unique? We have these location devices. Now, how the devices work is when you plant like a device. Say like I might be in a store and there's like a call box. So the call box is placed in the area. Make a long story short, if the call box is placed in the area, you have these devices that with each call box, that's probably like 5 or 6 devices that you can give it to the manager, employees, people that you feel like that's important that actually need it. When you push the button, it goes to the cell phone, and it goes to the cell phone of the security guard. So it navigates to where exactly that client is actually at. So that way, if something goes wrong, that security guard can go exactly to the client to see exactly what's going on. So that's one good thing that makes it unique. And and another thing is I want to start like a point system program. When the customers and clients are saying that the employees is actually doing a great job, I feel safe, I feel secure, then you build points up to actually get things that you want, like like a shirt, a hat, or certain things that you probably want, or even workout stuff like that. And I'm also a fitness trainer. I just got certified probably like I'm gonna say about a month ago. So I'm trying to tie that into security, because you have to be fit to do security. A lot of people, you could probably see some security guards, they're not fit, they're just there. But I want to make sure that you got a good diet, and that you're fit for duty and you look sharp. So when people look at you, they'll be like, wow, he looked like he worked out, and he looked like, I'm feeling more safe. No matter who it is, you'll feel even more safe and secure when you know that someone that's there, that's sitting in the patrol car, standing up, walking around, and he looked like he's well groomed. Yeah, so.
So Gary, great job on your presentation. You gave us a lot of information. And just to reiterate the challenge question for folks, this is all around how do we help increase visibility? Is that the right way to think about that, Gary? And these are some of the main audiences that you're looking for visibility to.
Yes, visibility and how to connect with you know, like property management, you know, the seniors living, like how do I connect with, you know, these type of clients?
Perfect. Well, I'm going to hand it over to John Rudenberg, who's going to moderate the Q&A. So John, take it away.
Thank you. And Gary, thank you so much for being our presenter. A round of applause. So
Thank you.
Gary, the folks are going to ask you questions. To the askers of the questions, please make your questions very short. And Gary, this entire program is being recorded, so you're going to get a copy of it. And it's all the chat room, you'll get a copy of that. And so you don't have to worry about taking notes right now. You know, and when people ask you a question, it's okay if you give them a short answer, because what's more critical is that you hear the questions and suggestions, and you can follow up with everyone who's on the call subsequent to our meeting. So to the question askers, either raise your hand physically or with the little button in the Zoom meeting, or put your request in chat. And with that, I will open the floor for questions. Who would like to be our first questionnaire? So Gary, I'll start off. So you mentioned that you're interested in the senior housing market, whether it's assisted living centers, retirement communities, perhaps nursing homes. Are you getting involved in Maryland, for example? There's a Senior Services Alliance, which probably some people on the phone are on. We can hook you up with that. Are you at all familiar with that?
No, not at all.
Okay. So that's one. I saw Rosemarie had a question.
I did. Thank you, John. Terrific presentation, Gary. Thank you for telling us so much about your business. You answered a lot of questions I had as we were going through it, but I want to ask you a question that I'm not sure that we focused on when you were giving your presentation. Your initial focus is on property managers for 55 plus communities. Is there a particular reason that's your primary focus? And then I have a follow-up to that.
It's not really a strong reason. I'm just trying to start from that point, you know, right now, and then just work my way in. But
Okay.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter. But this is the starting point.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll put some recommendations in chat. One thing that I would recommend that you think about is having like a bullseye reason, like that, you know, whether you picked 55 plus communities in your mind for a reason. I'm sure whatever it is a great reason. I'm just going to make something up, but let's say it's a neglected target segment that most of the security firms that you've worked with in the past didn't really focus on that. There are needs in that community for the special kind of capability you have. And therefore, you're building an ROI statement to that property manager with your first point. And then the second point is, whatever your price point is, whatever it is that you provide, maybe they get a discount on their insurance because they have private security, whatever that is. So the first point is an emotional tag, right? We help you. The second point is, this is how we make it a good investment, a return on investment for you. So I'll write that in the chat so that you have that to think about later.
Great. Thank you, Rosemarie. I see Melinda's hand up. Melinda, you're on mute.
Thank you. Great presentation, Gary. You had a great story you told me as we were putting this together about how your security people, when they're outside and there are older people walking around on the property from house to house or other things, and that was part of your reason that you saw this as a neglected community. And when your security people are able to either walk to them where they're going or follow them to make sure that they're okay. But you've got a story to go with that, and I thought you might want to share it.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean, because when you go to some of these citizen, I mean, senior living, there'll be issues where, you know, some people come up there and they take advantage of, you know, because of you're a lot older, so they feel like they can push you over. Then you have incidents where, you know, things can get out of hand because, you know, it depends on what area you in. You know, they don't have cameras and certain, you know, situations where, um, you know, people, you know, they get robbed and certain like really things that happen that I've heard through senior citizen, like you know, mainly is people want to feel safe and they want to see like a body there to make sure they're in good hands. So if you're not seeing nobody, no matter if you got cameras, it still will make you feel unsafe. But having a body there, a patrol car, someone in uniform walking back and forth, it makes them feel safe if they're walking out to their car 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning just to get something out their car. It'll make them feel very, very, very protected versus they walking outside 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, even though there's a camera right there, but they're not feeling that safe because having a body in place makes a big difference, and the customer service go with that too. So yeah.
Thank you.
So Gary, tell us, you said that you're now certified as an MBE. Is that a DC certification?
It's Maryland and DC. I'm certified.
Okay,
Yep.
and that's great. So I wonder whether there are some senior housing programs being run by the state agencies, either DC or Maryland, where you may have the benefit of being an MBE and use that leverage to secure contracts from the state government.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm planning on doing. So I just got the certificate. So it's just like I'm about to get my feet, really dig down deep into. Yeah.
That's a great milestone.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Jennifer Rose.
There
Sorry?
Jen Dalton has her
Jen
hand.
Dalton had a question. I thought it was Jen Rose.
If you're confusing me with Jennifer Rose, I love
It's a
it.
good one.
I mean, seriously.
I would love to be
Fine.
confused with Jen Dalton. She's amazing.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just confused in general.
Jen twins.
It's all right.
Twins.
It happens. So Gary, the MBE certification, as John said, is fantastic. And it sounds like because you just got it, you'll probably be updating your website with that information.
It's
But
on
I would
there.
also, I would also recommend finding property management companies who accept, who have sort of a diversity focus, right? Who also ask as a supplier to submit your diversity information. For example, Capital One has a diversity program. You have to submit through their website. So those are bigger companies. That's obviously not a proper management company, but I would look for companies who actively pursue diversity as part of their vendor hiring strategy, because that's a big differentiator. And there will be a segment of those that are not related to government contracting. So just a thought and a suggestion.
Love the idea. Love it. Yeah.
There are also subcontractors. You can be a subcontractor to a contractor that doesn't offer your services, and that may be an extension of both for both areas.
Thank you. Love the idea. Take a note.
So, Gary, you mentioned earlier a technical matter with 6 devices. Can you elaborate a little bit? How does that affect what you're doing? And how can you utilize that to your benefit?
You talking about the locator devices?
Yes, sir.
Well, most of the time when you go into a bank and you push the button, it takes a while for the police to get there. So these devices is pretty much like that, but you'll have the device on your keychain. It pretty much, when you push that device, instead of it going to the police, and to locate the police, it will locate the guard that's right there in that area. So once the guard once the guard get the notification, the guard knows exactly where to go at what part of the building, and pretty much can navigate pretty much precise where you at, so they can get the problem solved, no matter what it is. So that's what the benefit of the device is. It helps out if you're in harm's way. So,
Sure.
yeah.
So can you promote that as a competitive advantage? Even if other people do the same thing? I
Yeah.
haven't really heard that before.
Yes. 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 That's a good idea. I haven't promoted as much as I need to.
Okay.
Rosemary wants to ask a question.
Please.
Gary, I had another question pop into my brain as you were talking a little bit earlier. You would like to focus on 55 plus community and senior living areas. I'll kind of stick with that since that's your initial focus.
Right.
I know that there are real estate groups, there are professional groups that focus in that environment, especially in Northern Virginia, Montgomery County area. So finding and connecting with senior support groups, people who are helping others age in place. Not that you want to go to those individual homes, but they may also know property managers and, more importantly, contractors that can connect you to the larger facilities. The other thing is, if you want to go into that market, I think you'll need a marquee customer to use as a reference. So finding your first one will be the most important one. If you have any connection with any 55 plus group, that would be the place to go, even if they try you kind of at a discount or as a pilot customer or something to begin with, even for a special event. And then you can point to them and say, I'll just use a South Carolina example. Del Webb Community 123 uses Well Done security. Wouldn't you want to give your residents the same level of security as Del Webb does, as an example, right? So Del Webb is a marquee brand. You want to find a similar kind of brand that you can use in the marketplace to get other people, because especially with security, I think a lot of folks are going to want to make sure that they're using a firm that has a good brand image, right, in the marketplace. So you want to connect yourself with another good brand.
I agree.
Melinda.
There's another ask, Gary, that we talked about, and I think it's an ask to everybody here, is if you know anybody that's living in 55 plus housing, or if your parents are living in 55 plus housing, they may be able to get a name for you and that you can share with Gary, because as we all get older, some of us move to 55 plus communities, and some of us know people that have moved to the communities, and a lot of parents are in the communities, and that might be another opportunity if that would really help Gary if you can share that kind of information with him.
Gary, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
You are a special individual because of one reason, is that you served in the military.
No, I never served in the military.
I thought you served in the Marine Corps.
No, that was my first love. I wanted to go in the Marine Corps. That was what I wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
But by me, my right eye, it killed all that.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah, it killed all that by me. I passed the test and everything. It's just my right eye. They feel it was a liability. So
Gotcha. Okay. I guess that takes away what I was going to suggest for you.
Mm.
They have special offices that help out with minority-owned businesses that each state has that can get you contracts based off of that. I would check with them.
Okay.
What they have available and see what stuff that they can put you in touch with.
Okay,
Excellent.
thank you.
I've got John Foster, then Sarah Condi. You're on mute, sir. John. John, you're on mute.
Go.
There we go.
Should be unmuted.
You're good.
There we go. Apologize. Good to see you, Gary. Very good presentation. You and I have chatted several times before. I'm going to relate this back to a comment that Melinda made. My mom lives in a 55 and over community, and security is a huge issue. And so her apartment building is owned by an organization owns, I don't know, at least a dozen other apartment buildings. So one of the things I would think about is looking at the 55 and over communities, you know, in the Maryland and DC area, and look at some of those organizations. And Sunrise comes to mind to me. And there are certainly, I would talk to them first to understand what the needs are, so then you can focus your message on what it is and what it is they need. Because I think each one of those organizations is going to be different. Because I can tell you that the things that my mom's building deals with is different because of where they're located. And so I think understanding the needs so you can better market to, you know, the various 55 and over communities. So I would look at those companies that, you know, own a bunch of buildings in the 55 and over and understand what they need, you know, going forward. So you can get the messaging.
Thank you. That's a great idea. Definitely going to look into that.
Thank you, John. Sarah.
Hi, Gary. You're doing a great job. Thanks so much for joining us today. One of the things, I don't have a lot of experience in the security background, so I've been uncharacteristically quiet. But I did notice, my world is kind of on LinkedIn. That's where I spend a lot of my time. And I looked at your LinkedIn profile. And one of the things that I noticed is that you're missing an opportunity. You've got a beautiful site, and you've really, I was not expecting such a nice site like when I went there. And because when I go to your LinkedIn profile, you have a part-time security officer that's not your own company listed first. So you can change the order at which you list things on LinkedIn. And also you can create your company on LinkedIn and hook it in to that role. So that way you don't have what I call the dreaded gray square, you know, where it just shows the buildings. And you can also link in media. So I can, I'll message you a little, some tips and tricks to do that. I think it will come off a little bit more polished if you join some of those communities on LinkedIn. I don't know if that's a big market for you, but you are, there's some valuable real estate that you're missing out on that just takes like 10 minutes to update. So it's just a practical tip. You're using your banner really well. I like the logo, but when I look at this, the first thing I see is your part-time work with not highlighting your business. So I wanted to just put that out there.
Oh, that's great. I definitely need that. Definitely. Okay. I just joined LinkedIn not that long ago, so I'm gonna talk to John.
Yeah.
Great comments. Great comments. Gary, talk to us a little bit about some of your competitors. Who would you be running up against?
I'll be running up against a lot of security companies, especially in my area, that actually have federal contracts and state contracts. You got the Maxence, you have Paragon, you have Walden Security, you have Wolf Security. It's a lot of competition in my area where I'm at, you know, for security. So that's why what makes me unique is I know what most of them offer, but far as what I'm putting out, that's kind of like the game changer, you know. So, you know, but it's definitely a lot of competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does some of the competition do well that you really think is fabulous, that you could perhaps copy even?
What they do well?
Yeah.
What do they do well? They really well on communication. Like when there's an issue, something goes wrong, they're on top of it. They know how to de-escalate a situation when something occurs. Their training, extensive training, their extensive background. Some of these companies, it takes you 2 to 3 months to get in there because they're doing a deep, grounded background. These contracts is like $1 million contracts. So it's like, it gets real deep based on, you put your name out there and, the training and all that good stuff that comes in play. So yes, it gets real deep, They even go down checking your credit. So
Sure.
it gets deep. Yeah.
So the advice I would have is, of course, practice those best practices and message that you do that deep dive to determine people's credentials and the training you offer and the communication skills you have. Melinda.
Gary, you mentioned that small business is really how you differentiate yourself, because all these other contractors you find are going after government and state business. And that's why you have selected to really go after the small business, which would later include grocery stores and retailers and other types of markets. But even as you look at the 2 niches that you've carved, you're not going after the $1 million contractors. You're going after, the smaller ones. And you may want to elaborate more on the small business focus that you mentioned to me about.
Yeah, the competition I was talking about, they have real big contracts. Some of them have small contracts. To make a long story short, I want to go after the smaller contracts, like the assisted living, schools, grocery stores. Those big names that I just mentioned, like the big security companies, they're really not bothered with those type of companies. They're really bothered with the big, the SSA, the FBI, they not really bothered. So that's why I'm focusing on starting off small with these small ones. But my goal is to go to the big contracts like that. The bigger I get and the more I grow and get more knowledge and understanding what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. So, Bizzuto and Company in Maryland is an important player in that world. And they're a developer. And it seems to me there might be 3 contacts. You have a developer who's building a site. You have the condominium association, or HOA. I think Jennifer Rose may have mentioned that in a comment. They're like the condo association often. They're the ones hiring. And I would look to try to meet some of the development people to see if you can get in, but also meeting the HOA and condo association management team could be a very important target for you in those over 55 communities and the assisted living communities. Sunrise is a national company. That might be a tricky one to get into, but if you could get into a local Sunrise as a pilot and have that local executive say, wow, Gary Dunn's services were really well done.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
But
really like
getting
that.
into a pilot with one of the bigger companies, and maybe you do it for free. It's your marketing investment. Or if no, Jen is telling me not for free, but on a discount, maybe. I agree. Maybe not for free. I agree with that.
Jen, Dalton, and Sarah have questions.
Great. Jen and then Sarah. Thank you.
Gary, just a couple of thoughts. One is for many of these property management companies or senior living buildings, they host a lot of events. So I would try to get your foot in the door by being security for events first. And that may lead into being asked to be on more full-time. My second suggestion would be, I would talk with a few of the insurance companies and really make sure you understand how your services can lower business insurance premiums, and talk about that more, feature that. My last question, and I don't know if this is the same as the get a quote feature on your site, but do you do security assessments? So if a business called and said, hey, we're not sure, we may need you, and one of your services is we'll do a security assessment. Is that something you have thought about adding, or is that already in your sort of suite of services?
Yeah, that's something that that I was going to add. Like prime example, somebody do call me. Yeah, I get a whole detail of what's going on, and I have to go check out the site, and that kind of pertain to the pricing of what I charge. As far as I don't just say yes. I just pretty much got to go deep into what I'm getting myself involved before I even say, okay, I'm gonna give you the green light. So yeah, that's always first and foremost before you even take on any job. You got to make sure this is for you to do, and you got the right, you got enough employees to do the job. So you might say something, and then it might be okay. I might not have all the employees to do it, so why would you even say yes? So yes, we do definitely do assessments. So
Great comment. Sarah.
So Gary, I was looking at your summary on LinkedIn and kind of the way that you've positioned yourself when you start off. A big part of your story is that which is an incredible story, you have a heart of service. You wanted to serve in the armed forces. Unfortunately, you were unable to, but that did not stop you. You found a way to serve, even though you got disappointing news on what you thought your path was going to be. And I think that story shows a lot about your character, which is very important when trusting someone with security. And so think about a way that, like, it's in your LinkedIn profile, but there might be like a cool video or something you could do where it's like, how did you get into this and why do you care? Because if you can humanize that story, I think it will help you with your competitors. Because if I'm going to feel safe with you and I'm going to trust you, which is a big part of any business transaction, to me, your story shows me a lot about your character. You say that you have faith and you didn't give up and you found a way to persevere. You didn't find your dream, but you found a way to make a new dream that followed that heart of service. So I think that's a really interesting and unique positioning. And then of course you have the credentialing of the disadvantaged business and all of that to go with it. And if you ever do federal, getting on any of those, disabled business or doing anything with like an 8A, if you ever go that direction, there's a lot of opportunity there as well. It's expensive, but I'm just saying, I think you have a kind of an incredible story that you maybe can work on positioning a little bit stronger.
thank you. I needed that. Definitely needed that.
So I'm looking around. I believe it's time for me to call upon the one and only Donnell Johns to ask the last question of the morning.
Donnell Jones or Donnell John?
Donnell Johns.
It was a joke.
Yeah, Donnell Jones is a singer.
I know. That's why I threw it out there. I was just,
he took my
Don't
name.
give them any ideas, please. Come on.
But anyway, I will sing, after this is over, but it'll make everybody cry in not a good way. But no, Gary, great job. And thank you for coming here and telling your story and, asking. This is a hard question to ask. I mean, especially when you start your business out, there's a lot of organizations that could be your customer, but in choosing one and then figuring out how to, target that organization is huge. And so thank you for coming here and answering that question. My question for you is what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
It's pretty much all the feedback I've been getting, that was enough. So I've been taking notes in my head and writing stuff down, which y'all been saying. So, and then I'm looking at the little chat. This is all new to me. Me speaking and all, this is definitely new to me. So I just been looking at the little comments and just been taking notes. So this is great for me because you know how you have your mindset a certain way, but when everybody start pitching in and doing, little apples and oranges and everything, you be like, oh, okay, I'm about to make this a salad. Yeah, I'm about to make this fruit. Yeah, so that I was just brainstorming on a lot of stuff y'all was saying and writing it down. So it got me in a whole, it just expand my brain a little bit, just being narrow-minded. So this is is enough for me, to be honest. I gotta go back to the drawing board and I gotta get everything, yeah.
I'm gonna ask the question for you to our audience is, because Gary started this company, during the pandemic, he's going to need our help. And so if there's any organizations out there that need security, that may not even know that they need security, keep him in mind. In addition to that, please look out for subcontracting opportunities for him, because he may be able to subcontract with one of these larger organizations to grow his. And so if you know of any of those organizations out there, please put them in Well Done Security. Thank you so much, Gary, for being here and having us. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna have to come back to this $1 Million Cup. I love it.
I like that. We're changing the name to $1 Million.
I want one of those shirts.
That's way better.
I want one of those shirts too, because I'm a sneakerhead, so I know how to finesse that, put something together to make that thing look hot. Yeah. I seen somebody in the chat had a shirt. Somebody had a shirt on. I got some Jordan retro ones to go with them.
Gary, you might have to come to Virginia from Maryland.
Yeah.
Shatter backboards. I know.
Okay. All right. I heard you over there. I heard you, Donnell Jones.
We're gonna.
Hey, Gary, just become a weekly participant.
Okay.
Come to our regular meetings and throw tomatoes at the next presenter, right?
Absolutely.
Good tomato. I'm turning this back over to Jen Dalton.
Thank you so much. So next week we have the DMV Grow House. So please make sure you join us. We would love to be able to give them feedback. We have a lot of folks in the pipeline, but we're still looking for more presenters. Our goal is to help move the needle on small business growth here in this area. So please invite people to apply, 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. They get to have many of the organizers as their coaches. We charge a fee if you want to select a specific organizer. I'm just kidding. We don't. We're all free. It's all volunteer. I can't guarantee that some of us won't sing to you while we coach you. But in all seriousness, do share this. We love having businesses present. It's very important. It can be a lonely role to be a business owner. And so having a positive support group is really fabulous and definitely why I love this group. We also have our brand ambassadors. So we love our brand ambassadors. They're out spreading the word. And John Foster, if you want to share what it means, and then Sarah, I'll have you chime in as well. Let me make sure you're unmuted, John. Hold on.
I am unmuted. Yep. So I, John Foster, and I'm here representing Green Fair as Green Fair Health and Wellness, as we had an earlier on discussion about about health and wellness. It seemed to come up on a regular basis. But no, as far as this goes, it's funny because I'm here as a result that I'm here as a result of just the opportunity to serve in this community, because it is a community that is one that is necessary, and boy, I enjoy coming here even from Oregon. So,
okay,
and Gary,
overachiever, you win. You called it from the farthest away. We love having you here. We appreciate it. You've always got very insightful feedback. So thank you for being a brand ambassador. Sarah, how about for
Is it
you?
in Oregon?
Oh, I'm just a ham, so this just gives me another channel. So, no, in all seriousness, I work with a lot of folks who are high-end management consultants, and this is a really fun way to give back to the community, and I'm learning so much. And I love that everyone here has no ulterior motive, and business is about business, except for when it's not. And this is a place where it's about business, but focused on community. And I just find it so uplifting and encouraging, and it's a wonderful thing to be a part of. So it's very easy to evangelize because it's my favorite part of the week, and I'm learning so much. So thank you.
I love it. And Jennifer Rose, I think we have a lot of events coming up on the next slide that are from Central Fairfax. And if they're not hosted by Central Fairfax, you know what's going on. So talk us through these.
Yeah, we do have a lot going on because, we are the Chamber of Commerce. Tomorrow, we will have our business after hours for the month at Dolce Vita, fantastic Italian restaurant right here in the city of Fairfax. Next week, we've got a great webinar on public speaking. We're doing a great partner event with the Northern Virginia Hispanic American Chamber of Commerce. On Wednesday, we're going to kick off the National Hispanic Heritage Month at Inca Social. Should be a lot of fun. Got other things coming up next week. You can check it out there. I will drop into the chat the link to our events page, because we had all kinds of stuff on there from our partners like the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, the SBDC, and some other great organizations.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. We will stick around for a few more minutes, but we will stop recording. So if anybody wants to ham it up, they can. Thank you again. Please do have people apply.